So this is Ironman Nutrition Talk, and we just finished a lake swim, and we had a great meal. Thanks for Ken for making the noodles. The salad. Who did the salad?
Ken was a team effort.
Team effort.
It was a group salad.
An excellent job with the bread. It was very good. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the days leading up to the race, the morning of the race, at T1, bike fueling, run fueling, and the official drink of Ironman. Okay, so when you're leading up to the race, so you've got a week, you got a few days up to the race. Try not to do anything too different than your normal routine. Okay, so just keep eating what you normally do. Some people drink a lot of water in anticipations of being a hot day. I think drinking a little bit of water, a little bit more than normal is good, but you don't have to drink too much. You can get into a problem with drinking too much water. And there's a good gauge, so if you can drink 0.5 to 0.6 of your body weight per day is a good idea. So if you're a 180 pound athlete, you'll be drinking about 90 to 108 ounces. And all these slides, I will email you guys these, so you don't have to worry about keeping all these numbers in your head. So I'll just give you a PDF. The other thing too is calories. You don't have to put a lot of extra food in as well. Back in the day, people used to carbo load. Have you heard of carbo loading? People used to eat tons and tons of pasta. And so we still kind of do that at the pre-race dinner, which will be, I think it's Thursday or Friday. But you don't have to stuff yourself, right? So you don't have to keep doing that. The biggest thing you have to do, I find, and a lot of this is from Hammer, and I've been following Hammer the last few years, and I find it works really well, is after your workouts. Okay? So after you worked out hard, then you need to replace your calories. And the best way to do that, well, one of the ways to do that is with something called, I use Hammer Recoverite. But you can also use like chocolate milk. You can use granola bars, things like that. So you want to add some calories, you want to add some protein, and you want to get into your body within an hour. Okay? So I usually shoot for, bless you, Tim, you get too much water in your nose from the lake.
Lake, yeah.
But I usually think of a 30-minute window, right? So after your workouts, and it's easy to do. We all have kids. You can take your granola bars, throw them in there, juice boxes, and it's very quick and simple. So try and do that after every workout, okay? The same thing with sodium. You don't have to take in a lot of extra salt either, in the hopes you're topping off your body stores. But I still like to do that because I get into the habit of that, and I know my body craves the salt, so I will put a little extra on, but you don't have to put a lot on. Okay, so now the morning of the race. What are you going to eat when you first wake up? Now, I've changed what I do in the last 2 years. What I used to do, I used to keep it simple. I would have like orange juice, Cheerios, and then that was it. That was it. But now I don't eat anything. So I don't have any calories before the start, except for maybe 1 to 2 gels about 30 minutes before. And it's kind of a weird idea to get into, right? Because tomorrow morning before we do our bike ride, what are you guys going to have? Tim?
I'm going to have my usual breakfast, cereal and fruit.
Cereal and fruit. What do you drink?
Water.
Water? What do you have?
I have Tim Hortons oatmeal.
Yeah?
A little coffee and water.
Yeah? Okay.
Trios with the banana and coffee.
Yeah?
Yeah. Cashew cereal and coffee.
Okay.
Water.
People love their coffee, yeah? Kickstart the morning. So I got rid of that. And it was hard because it's hard to think, well, I need food in my belly if I'm going to go on these rides, right? So, but once I start riding my bike, then I start fueling. And it does work. It works for me.
Don't you have to have like a smorgasbord on your bike then of tons of food? Or?
I'll get to what we need to have on your bike. But really what I have is I'll have 3 bottles of fuel, and then I'll have gels or some gummies or whatever. But I'm kind of like Tim. I'll have my gels in a gel flask, and every 30 minutes I shoot it in. it's a different flask than this one.
That's Tim has proprietary rights on that.
I know. And so the other thing they say is don't sacrifice sleep to eat, right? So if you got to eat before the race, that means you have to wake up. Typically, is 3 hours before. The race starts at 7, right? You got to be eating at 4, right? So then you're waking up, at 3 something, and that just is shockingly early for me. I know Tim is not that bad, but for me it's shockingly early, and so I don't sacrifice sleep. I'd rather sleep, and then don't worry about the food. You will get the fuel with a couple of gels, but you have to try it in training first. I would hate you to go to the race and then try it and then it would fail. And the other thing too that it depends on is that you are topping up your calories and things after each ride and workout within that 30 to 60 minutes. Okay? So you could try that tomorrow if you want. Don't eat. See how it goes. Although it's going to be a hard day. Right? It's going to be a hard day. Maybe you want to try it on a different day. So here are some pre-race meal suggestions if you are going to eat. You could have 2 to 2.5 scoops of Perpetuum. You could have a bagel or some yogurt, some bananas and active yogurt. You can have a pancake, like, they say soy protein enhanced pancake, but that's a lot to think about. I know a lot of people, when they go to Ironman, they will book a hotel that has stoves and things so they can cook their own breakfast, right? So you can wake up, you can have pancakes or make the pancakes the night before. I know this might be good for you, Ken, a skinless baked potato, because you like the potatoes, right? Yeah, and it's working well, right?
Yeah.
And the big thing too is you have to try this in training and see if it works. All of us should have some kind of a training log. So after your ride, you write down, well, how did this work? And I do that too. I keep trying different mixes. Maybe I want to try heat for the first hour and then Perpetuum after. Perpetuum is a good a fuel if you're going for over 2 hours. Okay, so 2 hours or longer. And if you're doing workouts less than 2 hours, then you do the heat, because this will have protein in it and helps you go longer. Okay, but the heat doesn't have that. But the only problem with this guy is it will go bad. So you don't want to have a water bottle on your bike and have it sit there for 6 hours, or have it at a special needs waiting for you, because it's 120 kilometers before you get it.
Yeah.
So what I would normally do is I'd have a water bottle with my Perpetuum in it, and then I'd add water to it when I get to it and shake it up. So then it's fresh. So it's not going to go bad.
Can you use heat and then just add like some whey protein isolate to it?
You can do that.
That way we can mix it.
You can do lots of different things, right? I mean, there's nothing set in stone. That's why you need to try it, right? And maybe you don't even need the whey protein, right? So my fastest Ironman, or the bike split that I did, it was purely on Gatorade and Power Gels. That was it. I had a tub of Gatorade. I scooped it in, and then every aid station I would just take the Gatorade and away I went. But I had 20 gels for the day or whatever, and I would just Gatorade, gels, water, and I'd cycle through that, and it worked well. Okay, so at T1 you can do this. So you've been swimming for at least an hour. This crowd here, we're doing at least an hour. All right.
2.
So you can't fuel during the swim. Okay, and I recommend not drinking the water.
Okay.
All right. But what you can do is when you get to your transition, you can take a dose of Endurolytes, and Endurolytes are like electrolyte capsules, and then you can sip it from a multi-hour fuel bottle. And I'll talk about that later. And the idea of that is it just quickly gets some energy into your body so that you can start your bike ride and get into a nice smooth rhythm instead of trying to get onto your bike and take the calories in. Now I don't do this. What I do, because I'm all about speed and getting in and out as fast as possible, when I'm in T1 I'm just grabbing my stuff and I'm getting out quick. And my transitions at Ironman are about 3 minutes on both sides. So I'm not doing a lot of eating in there. I will be eating probably in 5 to 10 minutes down the road. So I'll get on my bike, and then I'll start sipping from my bottle, and then I might have a gel right away as well. But if you're not about the speed, and you don't care about how long your transition is, then you might want to take in some fuel. Okay? So you want to replenish, and you can't replace. So whatever you're burning off, you can't put it back in. Okay, so say if you're burning 500, you can't take 500 and put it in. It's not like going to the bank, the ATB bank, right? Okay, so we have different systems in our body that kind of limit how much we can take in, and that's a good thing, right? So you want to try and just replenish, but not doing exactly replacing. Okay. So, but there are some guidelines to follow, and what I like to do is for fluids, so water or your sports drink, you want to be taking 20 to 25 ounces an hour. Okay, and so that's typically like a water bottle or one of the taller ones, okay, an hour. But you do want to pay attention to how much fluid you're putting into your body, right? Even tomorrow when we're doing a bike ride, try and get in a bottle an hour, okay? And then you need to put in salt or sodium chloride. So there's a range there, like 300 to 600 milligrams per hour. Now, have you guys been tracking that at all during your rides?
Yeah, I do. I need it.
Yeah, and some people need it, right? And you can tell the people who need it because you can look at their pants or their top, and it's all white. So the salt is coming right out of them.
And just on that, I put salt capsules on electrical tape. So that's where I do put electrical tape on the bike, so that I can see, because otherwise they get lost. If I put them in the bento box or put them in any sort of moisture, that they just dissolve themselves. So I found that the best way is just to run them down a bit like a cartridge belt down, and then I can see how many I've had, because I have to take one every 45 to 60 minutes.
Yeah. And be careful with the type of, because there's a lot of salt tablets out there, right? This is kind of based on Endurolites, so the Hammer product, like 3 to 6 of those. There's also things like salt tabs out there and other salt tablets. So look at the bottle and see what the concentration is, because you don't want to be, some of them, say if you want to take 3, but if it's 400, you're way over. So you don't want to be taking too much either. Okay, so whatever salt you're going to take, make sure you know what the concentration is. Okay? And to get back to Tim, what I do, I have a little bottle with a flip top on it, and I put my salt tablets in there. I put it in my back pocket, and then I flip it off, and I can take 2 in my tongue and then put it back on. And if I do that every 30 minutes, I get into a routine of every 30 minutes, I know how many I've taken. And you can get those little containers like the M&M ones, like at Safeway,
Right. Yeah.
right? Or whatever kind of candy they are. You could eat the candy too, which is a nice thing. Flip it off and then put your tablets inside, and they hold pretty good. I usually take, I'd probably have 1 on the bike, and then 1 on the run, and then I'll probably put 1 in each special needs, just in case it gets lost, because things do pop out or gets misplaced. Okay, but try to be aware of how much salt you're taking in, and there's going to be salt in your fluid, right? And there's going to be salt in your gels, and there's going to be salt too in your salt tabs. So at some point, it's a good idea to sit down and just add it all up. See, well, how much am I taking in? So there is a bit of work involved, but it's worth doing. Okay, so we got the fluids, right? A ball an hour, and so say it's also size dependent. So Brian, you're a little bigger than I am, so you're going to need more fluid than I do, right? So you might be going for the large bottle, and I might be going for the smaller normal one, right? But it all depends too on how you sweat. Okay, and if I'm in a bike class, if you look down at the floor how much I'm sweating, I'm not sweating that much. But if you look at another athlete, you won't mention any names, but there's a puddle there. Yep. It's not you, but you know who it is.
I know who it is.
Yeah.
They It would be like swimming.
So big puddles.
Big puddles.
Yeah. So, that athlete sweats a lot, so you're going to have to put more salt in, right? Just kind of be aware of that. So if you're out running, how much are you sweating? You can kind of tell that, right? So fluids, salt, and then the next thing is calories. So how many calories per hour are you putting into your body as you're riding? Do you guys know? Mario? No? Brian?
Roughly a couple hundred.
A couple hundred?
Yeah.
Potato in a gel.
How much is in potato?
I have no idea.
I do 340 to 350 calories.
He's a senior. What was that word that we used?
Established.
Established. You're the established
I'm
athlete.
an established athlete.
So Tim and I are in the same position here. We're both established, and I know how many calories I take into. Because for me, I always target probably like 265 or so. And how do I do that? I know that I've got my perpetuum, and later on it's going to show you how much is in each bottle. And then I know how many gels I'm taking per hour, and then you add them together. That's how many calories you take. Okay? Because if you're taking 120 or 200 calories per hour, that may not be enough. So you get to the end of the bike and you just don't have enough calories, and you're going to, and your run is going to be really, really hard. Okay? The other thing too is you want to be in training and take note of what you're doing. So try 300. Maybe 300 is too much. Try 100. That's too little. So you got to play around. That's why a train diary is so important for you guys. And on this camp that we're doing, take note of what you're doing. Try to pay attention. I use my watch all the time. I'll zero it, and then I'll start it. So every 30 minutes, I'm taking in a gel, and I'm making sure I go through a bottle in an hour. Okay? So the way I get calories in, it'd be coming through Perpetuum and other drinks. So if I'm doing Ironman, I'll have my Ironman Perform, right? And then the gels, and sometimes I'll use bars. I don't usually use a lot of solid foods, but typically at the top of Richter's, I'll take a power bar. I kind of like that. But solid food is not a necessity. You don't have to eat solid food. It's harder to digest than liquid.
What do they have nutrition-wise on the course?
I'll show you at the end. That's one of my last slides.
I'm always a bit ahead of the class.
You're keen.
You always hear about people's stomachs cramping up, and I thought that's because they're not taking in the solid food.
Well, it could be because they're not taking enough calories or not enough salt or not enough fluid. It's a tricky thing.
Or too much.
Or too much.
Oh, okay.
What about fruit?
Fruit?
That's digested pretty quick, right?
I remember one lady said, "Todd, don't take the oranges," because she had so many oranges on the run, and she said that didn't work. So I remember taking some fruit during the runs a little bit. Like, I usually say an orange. I would squeeze it in and then toss it out. So I'm not really eating it, but you do get that fast burst. Do you train with fruit?
Bananas.
Bananas. Yeah. Bananas are pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you get the potassium in there too, and a lot of people like them for not cramping. And they're often handed out on lots of races, right? And like you said, they're easily digested, I think bananas are. But, if your potatoes are working, then keep going with it, right?
Yeah. The thing about solid food is that you do eventually have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's totally true.
Yeah.
And then you got to stop, right? You're going to have to stop either on the bike or stop a few times on the run.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why I'm like, I don't need to put any solid food in me on race morning, because it's one less thing I got to get rid of. Right?
Or you don't have to stop it. It could be messy.
That's Jordan Rapp.
Okay, so multi-hour bottles, because you do get into this question of, okay, so if I'm riding for 4 hours, how do I carry that much fuel? Right, so if you only have 3 bottles, how do you get that much calories in? Then what you do is you create a multi-hour bottle. Has anyone here ever done that?
On that, I know that it's going to take me 6 hours to do the race. I just mark it into sixths. Every hour I have to get that down to the next mark.
So you're talking about gels, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that gel bottle. Because for me, that's easy.
Yeah.
Don't have to think about it.
Okay. I'm talking about like a water bottle with heat or perpetuum or something like that in it. No?
I don't do that.
So I do that, and I did that last year too, and it's a cool way. So say if I want to go for 4 hours, I've only got 3 spots for my bottles. a couple of options I can do is I can take a 2-hour bottle and a 2-hour bottle. That will get me 4 hours, and then a bottle of water. So what you do, say if I normally take a scoop of Perpetuum in there, you put 2 scoops in, and then you shake it up. You got to shake it up well to get it really dissolved, but the same thing, so then you put 2 scoops in the other bottle. So now you have 4 hours of nutrition, plus the water, and that will get you 4 hours of nutrition, but you won't have 4 hours of fluid, right?
Right.
But the nice thing is if you are doing an Ironman, there's aid stations every 10 miles, so you can get extra water. So you take that water, you finish it, you toss it, and grab another one, right? And it's nice if you don't want to use the fuel of the race. Like for me, I hardly ever use the fuel of the race now. I use this stuff solely because I train with it and I know it works. And so when I go to race day, I don't want to mess up with anything. So I'll have enough bottles on my bike with calories to get me to special needs where I have more. And then if I do run out, then I can grab some stuff on the course. Okay? So that's simple to do it that way. You just take the powder and double it up. You can even triple it up, and that will give you 3 hours. But just remember, if you got a 3-hour bottle, that's only 1 bottle of fluid. You need 3 bottles for 3 hours. Right? Okay? So you do need to plan on what you're doing. And for Ironman Canada, I always plan for the special needs. Special needs is 120 kilometers. So you got to figure out how long is it going to take you to get there. We're all going at different speeds. So for me, say if I'm trying to ride at 35 kilometers an hour, I'll reach there in about 3.5 hours. So I need 3.5 bottles to get there, right? But if you're going to ride at 30 kilometers an hour, it's going to take you 4 hours. And the same thing, if you ride 25, you're going to get there, almost 5 hours. So sit down, pen and paper, figure out how fast you're going to get there, and then figure out how many bottles you want. That's if you want to train on your own stuff. Right? And then again, this is just an example of some different ways that I can get there if I'm riding at 35 kilometers an hour. So it's 3.5 hours. Right? So option 1, I can use a 3-hour mix, right? And then pick up extra Perform for the last aid station because I'm going to miss 30 minutes, right? So I got 3 hours and you just keep sipping it. So you'd have to do what Tim does, right? If you get a clear bottle, and that's the nice thing about having clear bottles, right? So you can see how much fluid you got. Right, so you can go 1, 2, and then you just every hour you bring it down and then down, right? Or if you got 2, and then do that. And what I typically do is on the top of my bottles, I will write 2 times or 3 times, so I know what it is. If you're using different concentration, you can run into problems. So make sure you're drinking the right thing and shake it up really, really well, because a lot of times it will be right on the bottom, and you got to get it dissolved. You can do the same thing with gels too, right? There's 5 gels in here, and they do have little markers here, but they're kind of hard to see. But you could just take a black marker and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so you can see. Okay, so figure out what you're going to do. Come up with a different combination. Like you might not like how 3 times taste. Maybe you prefer 2 times concentration, or maybe you don't care at all. So you can just use a normal concentration. If you're going to train with gels, you're going to need a lot of gels, right? So getting one of these things is a great idea because you can just take how many you need and put it in the gel flask. Every Friday night I do my routine of taking my gels and squeezing it out into bottles, so I have it ready, and it can take forever. But if you have a jug like this, you just pour it in and you got 5 right away. And that's pretty cool. Or you can leave it on your bike. It's ongoing. Yeah, Tim knows me well, and he knows that I do this all the time.
It's not just a water bottle.
That's right.
So, say if I'm going to I would take gels every 30 minutes, right? What do I got going on here? Let's start again. So in T1 is where I pick up my gel flask, right? So you finish the swim, you go into your tent, and you got your helmet, your bike, and then I've got these gel flasks. I will have 2 gel flasks in there, and I take them, pick them up, and put them in my back pocket. Okay, so then I've got 10 gels, right? So if I'm taking a gel every 30 minutes, if I got 10 gels, how long will that last me? 5 hours. This is a quick class. It's awesome.
I haven't been taking close to enough gels. Not even close.
Okay, so at the end of your rides, do you feel like you run out of energy?
Last weekend I was dead at last 10K for sure.
Right, and so then you want to be taking more in. So tomorrow, pay more attention to that. I mean, if you need an extra one of these, I have one. You'll get one in your package here, but if you need an extra one, I've got one. And these are the best because they've got a nice big hole on the top, and they just squeeze out so easy. They're so fantastic. They're a great thing. No, we're not playing catch. Okay? So figure out if you're going to bike for 6 hours, and you're, 6 hours, every 30 minutes, how many gels do you need? It's 12, right? 12. The thing is, though, say if you get to a number where it's, well, I have 5 and I get 3, I'd rather add extra gels to it so that it's full, because then when you flip it over and you put it in your mouth, it comes out quicker. Because if you put 3 in, it just doesn't flow out that fast, right? So I'd rather waste the 2 gels I'm not going to use and then fill it right up. Okay? And you don't worry about spending the money at Ironman on race day. You don't kind of, well, that's $250 for a gel. You don't do that. And we all get to that point, right? But you can't. You got to say, I need this for the race, and then you buy it, and you're going to throw it away anyways. But it's worthwhile doing. Okay? But figure it out. Figure it out beforehand. How many gels you need to buy, so that when you go to the expo and there's all these gels there, you go, wow, how many gels do I need? And you start doing the math in your head and you go, oh, maybe I need 7. But do it beforehand so you know exactly what you need to buy, or you can buy it in bulk someplace. Okay, so this is how I do my nutrition. Okay, I use Perpetuum, and every bottle of Perpetuum I get 135 calories. Now that's based on my weight, and it's nice and simple. That if you go on here or in that little red book I gave you, it tells you how many suggested usage. So if you're 120 to 155, that's where I am. You put up to 1 scoop. Okay, so I put in 1 scoop, and then you take that little red book out, and it tells you how many calories are in 1 scoop. Okay, so if you're bigger. If you're 190 plus, then you put up to 2 scoops. And it says up to, right? So you play around with it, and you might say, okay, well, let me try 2 scoops. How does it feel? Or maybe I'll do 1 3/4. And just kind of do the math, and then figure out, well, how many calories am I getting in per bottle, right?
So you put your fizz in the Perpetuum bottle as well?
Yep. Yep. Okay, so then I've got calories from my Perpetuum. I'm getting calories from my gel flask, right? And so you can put in 5 gels in a flask, okay? And you can get about 150 calories per hour. And I think that if you're taking this, you squeeze it in your mouth, I think I'm probably getting 3/4 of a gel. I don't think it's exactly 1. That's kind of the downfall with this, is you don't know exactly. But I usually think, well, it's close to 3/4, okay? So there's going to be some kind of approximation there with the numbers. So I say I'm taking approximately 150 calories with the gel, right? And then I'm taking a fizz tablet or a capsule. You'll just take it and plop it right into your water bottle. And I was telling you guys earlier that be careful with the flavors. So make sure you test it out beforehand so that it tastes okay, because you might be in the shock. And it's kind of like effervescent too. Have you tried these, Tim? So they're good. I like them. Or take your salt tablets. But you do need some kind of electrolyte, especially in a hot day. And it's going to be hot tomorrow. Okay? So then once you know that, then you add up all your calories. So the total calories for me, I've got 135 from the bottle, 150 from the gel, I'm taking about 280 calories per hour, right? And if I bike for 5.5 hours, that's 1,567 calories. Now, some's always going to be lost. And it's hard to stay to a strict schedule anyways, right? I mean, you do your best with your watch, but there's always kind of, you lapse, you kind of forget, and then you lose some things. You're going to lose some gel, you're going to lose some of your drink because it gets squirted on you, the gels don't come out, all those things. And then you figure out, well, how much sodium am I taking in? And so the gels, depending on the gel you have, they can range between 30 to 200, and I can take in between 260 and 600 milligrams of salt per hour. Okay, and there's also salt in here as well, so you have to add that in, right? So it's a bit of math, and it may look kind of daunting at first, but it's worthwhile sitting down and just kind of seeing, what am I taking in.
Can I throw another wrinkle in there?
Oh, sure.
And that is that what I've heard is that your liver will hold 2,000 to 2,500 calories. Your stomach will hold another 1,000 calories. So you start the race with an inventory of calories. So you're burning 800 to 1,000 an hour. So the swim, you're just burning it and nothing's coming in. So you've used up the opening inventory. Then as you add, your body can only accommodate 280, 350, whatever your body does. So you can only add a limited amount, but you're exercising at 800 to 1,000 output. So the whole thing is depleting as you go through. So it's a balancing act to make sure that you've still got calories at the end of the day.
Right.
To keep things going.
Yeah, that's true. And you can't put in what you're burning out. You can't.
That's right.
You just can't do it.
And again, just me, what I've found is that the first 30 minutes of the bike, with the nervous energy, with getting into the bike, my body can't process calories at the beginning of the bike. So I start off just with water for 20 to 30 minutes until everything's settled out, and only then do I start putting calories in. So there's still another point where you're burning up 400 or 500 calories with no input.
Yeah, and we're all different. All the bodies are different, so that's why it's good to test things out in training and seeing what works. So like for me, for the first 30 minutes, I won't take perpetuum because I find it's too heavy, but I will take he's gonna want that. I'll take heat instead. I'll have a water bottle of heat. I'll take a water bottle of heat, and then after that, I'll stick with the perpetuum for the bike. Right, so that will throw out a bit of a mix too in the numbers. And the numbers don't have to be accurate, but it's good to know what you are taking in. So you do have some kind of you need to have some kind of a plan going in, right? And take out that red book. Take the red book out, or take what you're using. Look at this information on the side. They all have the information on the side, and kind of figure out what you're taking in. Okay, so run fueling. Run fueling is a little bit different than the bike fueling, because it's hard to get in as much calories as you can on the run as you can on the bike, right? Just because you're moving a lot. On the bike, you're supported by the bike, so it's easier to take it in. But the run, you're always moving. Okay, and I find that you can't take in as many calories, so it's going to be a little bit less. But you still want to be taking in the calories, and you still want to be taking in the salt. But I'm not taking fizz anymore because I don't have my water bottles. So then I switch over to something called Endurolights, or some kind of salt tablets, and I'll take those, put them in my back pocket. When my watch goes 30 minutes, I will take a salt tablet and some gels. I'm glad you like. Are you okay with them?
Oh yeah.
So can you overdose on Endurolights? Like, is there?
The thing about salt that I've read is no, that you're not going to go over. So there's no fear like taking in too many calories or too much water, but I don't think you can take too much salt in. I mean, you don't want to obviously try to stay within these guidelines, right? But I've kind of said you can't really go over too much. Tim, would you agree with that?
I find that because I need it, I have gone over the top, and there's nothing wrong, but it screws up my stomach.
Oh, okay.
So that's when I physically feel sick and I get cramps. I know that my body can eliminate it, but it just makes me feel sick.
And a sign that you need more salt. A sign that you need more salt is like if you're getting shaky. Like if you're on the bike. Have you ever been on riding on the bike and you go, oh, I don't quite feel right? No, not yet?
Yeah, no.
Well, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always tomorrow. Have you felt there? No?
I eat a lot though.
Tim, have you been there?
Oh, every time.
I'm there too. So, are we experienced or what are we? Established. But sometimes I'll ride, especially in the early season when I'm not quite used to going long and my nutrition isn't timed down as it should be. I know that I get kind of shaky a bit and I go, I need some salt. So.
And I cramp.
And cramping is a good thing too. So if you're cramping, you kind of get the shakes and you don't quite feel right. It's a sign that you need some salt. Okay. And there's a number there, 240 to 280 calories per hour. That's a big number to get in on the run. I don't think I can get that much in. For me, it's probably definitely under 200. I'll be sticking to taking a gel every 30 minutes. And a gel every 30 minutes will give me about 200 calories. And then I will have sips of Gatorade or the drink that they're providing. So it's Ironman, Power Bar, Perform, or something like that, right? Okay. And the thing is with the calories, you don't want to be thinking about, how much can I get in, but you want to see, well, how little can I get away with? Right? Why you can still function. So you don't want to keep plugging it in, but try and find what is that number that you need. Okay? And then figure out how many gels for the run as well. You can do the same thing if you're taking gel every 30 minutes. And then plan it out, right? So I will know if I'm doing one every 30 minutes, so it's 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. That's assuming I'm going to run 3.5 hours. I'm going to need about 7 gels, right? But what I will do is I'll have a gel flask at T2, pick it up, and I'll run with it. It's got little finger things here, right? It's kind of neat. And you just run with it. And then when you get tired, I pass it over to the other hand. It gives me something to do, back and forth, right? And so I got 5 gels in here. It's going to take me right up to the special needs. When I get special needs, I throw that one away, open up my bag, and grab a new one. Why do I want a new one? Because it's got full and it will come out easier. Okay, so that's why I like having a full one. So even though if I only need 7 gels, I'll have extra gel at the end. And again, I'm not worried about wasting my gel. Okay. And when you're running, it's hard to take in calories because you feel so tired. I mean, that's something I always have to tell myself, take in the calories. Because you've been eating all the time on the bike and you don't want to take any more calories in, but you need the calories. So remind yourself you have to take these calories in. Right?
Do you, probably a stupid question, do you stick with one flavor of gel throughout the entire race, or do you mix up flavors, or does that just make your stomach sick?
You know what? I don't know if they still do it, but back in the day, I know I shouldn't say that, but back in the day, they had 2 different flavors for Gatorade. They had orange and lime. They had orange for the bike and then lime for the run, or vice versa, right? And they did that just to mix it up and give you a variety. So if you can do it, it's kind of nice to do that.
Oh, okay.
My fastest race, I did it on nothing but Power Gel Cafe Lattes. I don't know how many I had. It was a ton of them, right? Yeah. And I couldn't eat them again until my next race. It's like, I don't want to see any more Cafe Lattes. And to this day, I don't want to eat them anymore either. So it's probably good to mix it up.
Yeah, at the end of it, Gatorade is Gatorade is Gatorade. Yeah. It doesn't matter what flavor it is. It just tastes like Gatorade.
Okay, so the official drink of Ironman, I believe it's still Ironman Perform. So if you're going to use this on the course, I mean, it's available, go ahead. Just make sure you know how it tastes, right? And I think you can buy it like in Safeway and and those stores, right? And how they serve it is they serve it into the bottle that you buy in the store. So they don't mix it up beforehand, but they give it to you, especially on the bike. On the race, they'll have it mixed up. But try it out beforehand, because I can't drink it. It's too sweet for me. And then I get to the problem of, I grab this bottle, I'm going to drink it, and I can't drink it because I don't want to. It's too sweet. And if I don't have a front Aerobar bottle, I can't mix it. So I'm stuck with this sweet drink that I don't want to take. And that's one reason why I like having my own drink, so I have my concentration that I like. But know what's in it, right? So there's 17 grams of carbohydrates, 190 milligrams of sodium, and 70 calories. So you can use that when you're calculating how many calories and sodium and stuff you're getting per hour. Okay? And the official gel for Ironman is Power Bar Gel, right? And they'll probably have different flavors as well. And you will get 120 calories per package. So if you're going to use those, just figure it out. But I wouldn't use those a lot on the bike because it's too hard. You gotta grab it and then you gotta open it up. But if you have it on your bike, then you're already prepared. The nice thing about having gel on your bike ready to go, say if you're biking along, aid station's coming up there, I will take my gel flask, squirt it in my mouth, get my gel, grab water, wash it down, and I keep going. So you always plan ahead. So I wouldn't grab the water and then do the gels. It takes too much time. So do it all a step ahead. Okay? And they're just holding it. I know you guys have never done it before, but there'll be a volunteer just standing on the side with a water bottle like this.
Yeah, they did it in Calgary last year. So.
Right? And they have a system of where you get it up. So just look at the athlete manual when you see, so water is first, and then Gatorade, and then gels. So know the order that you're going to pick. And you're coming in at speed, and they just hold it. Sometimes they'll run with you a little bit, and you just grab it. And if you miss it, and if you need it, stop and go back and get it. Because you don't want to say, oh, I'll get it on the next aid station, but that could be like 40 minutes down the road.
And the aid station is where everybody crashes.
Yeah. So keep your wits about you, and the special needs too. So what's happening is people get their aid station and they forget about everything else. They're just got the bottle and they're putting it down. They're not paying attention to the race anymore, and they start to weave this way, weave that way. And people behind that are not getting stuff can crash right into them. Right? So stay alert. Stay alert. And if you're not going to take anything, go wide. Go right to that middle line, but don't cross it, and then just pass everybody. But stay alert. I'd even get out of the aero bars so that you can brake if you need to.
Last year, I think it was at the top of Richter Pass, a real lake, I can't remember, I'm pretty sure it was Richter Pass. They ran out of water at the top of the station. They hit it at a point in the race, they ran out. And yeah, so I guess be prepared for that too. I highly doubt it will happen again. So now they know it's possible and they'll probably prepare better for it. But.
Especially if you're at the back of the pack.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of waste that goes on. And so the faster riders and the middle of the packers, they'll take the water, and instead of drinking it, because it's hot, they'll just dump it all over their bodies to cool themselves off. And it's a great way to cool yourself off. And I'll tell you guys to do the same thing. Dose yourself off. Because you do need to do that. If you're out there in 36 degrees heat, you got to cool yourself off. But then you kind of don't think about the people behind you, and they run out of water.
I am the people behind me.
So think about Tim. And he's parched. He wants that water. Okay? Mario just missed this. What's available at each aid station? Bike aid stations there. There's a Power Bar Ironman Perform drink. There's water. There's the gel. There's Power Bar. And there's bananas. Okay? And then on the run, you get the Perform, the water. Now you get the cola. Power Bar Gel and Bar, pretzels, chicken soup. And we give that out as it gets later. Oranges and bananas. When you go through the aid stations, don't think of it as, oh, look at all this free food. I'm just gonna start chowing down, right? Try and get in and get out. Get what you need to do and get out. I know we get tired sometimes. We think, oh, what's going to help me? And if you get to that stage, we'll go ahead. But try and get in and out as fast as possible.
Last year, the only thing my stomach could take was pretzels and water. That was it.
That was
I tried everything else. I had so much gels and fruit jelly things throughout the day, my stomach just felt horrible.
Yeah.
But I could take a few pretzels and water, and I did that for the last half of the whole run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book by Chris McCormack. Have you guys read that one? I'm Here to Win.
Yeah, I did that.
You read it?
When it came out as well, it's a really good book.
And he was on the bike, and he was having a horrible day, and he was going to quit. And then a German came up beside him and said, drink Coke. He's like, what are you talking about? My nutritionist says I can't drink Coke, right? It's going to mess up with all the calories. And so he said, okay, drink Coke. So he started drinking the Coke, and he started to come around, and then he started drinking nothing but Coke. And then he ended up coming back, finishing strong on the bike, and he had one of the fastest marathons of the day. So don't be afraid to try stuff too, right? So if you're out there late at night, try the chicken soup. Chicken soup has salt in it. It can give you a big boost, right? Try the Coke. Coke's got caffeine in it, right? It gives you a boost. Try these little things. These things will help you. The best way to carry all your nutrition, you can have a bento box. This goes on the top tube. You can use a behind the seat carrier for the bottles. I use this method. You can have the gel flask. You can have like one of these little capsule flip-flop things. That's good to carry your stuff. You can tape all your gels there. I did that too a few years. It's kind of a neat thing, but you've got all these gels there, and you got to have a systematic way of doing it so that they don't all fall off, right? You can see here on this bike, they've taken power bars, they've cut them up and just stuck them on the top tube. I did that one year too, and then it got really hot. I looked at these power bar slices, and it was like, I can't eat that. I just couldn't. It looked so disgusting, right? And so it's a problem if that's what I'm planning on to eat for calories. But I'll tell you, back then, I had no idea of how many calories I'm taking per hour. I just said, well, everyone else is taping stuff on, I'm going to tape it on. And then I'm going to put my power bars on there because it looks kind of cool. But I'm not going to eat. I can't eat it. It looks so gross. Or you can use a front water bottle system too. And that's pretty popular as well. But if you're going to use the front system, make sure you train with it because it does spill all over the place. So make sure you work out a system so that it's not going to get you all wet and you lose all your nutrition. I think we're coming to the end there, guys. And that's it.